In this video, I'm going over 4 key tips to help you lose more body fat while you're working your desk job or if you're working from home. And I promise you, if you put your full attention and effort towards these 4 things, you'll absolutely lose more body fat sustainably over time. And just a little bit of a hint, number 4 is the most important one, so make sure you stick around for that. And if you don't know my background, I'm a former corporate professional. After college, I worked many years in New York City, commuting into Manhattan, sitting at my desk for 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, and then commuting on the train back home. So I know what it's like to live this life. And also now, as a full-time online coach, for the last several years, I've been sitting at my desk here working from home. So it's very, very similar in that I'm very sedentary for most of the day. So tip number 1 is not to sit all day long, okay? Whether you're going into an office or working from home, whatever you do, just try not to sit for multiple hours at a time. So making sure you're not sitting all day long is super important, not only for being healthy and avoiding disease and actually living longer, which I'll get to in a minute here, but it's very important for losing more body fat and actually getting leaner. Because the vast majority, like 80 to 90% of the calories that we burn in a given day are not actually from our workout. So even if you work out for an hour or 2 hours in the morning or in the evening, the vast majority of your calories that you're actually burning up throughout the day are through everyday activities. Fidgeting, walking, getting up, going to the fridge, taking your dog out for a walk, walking to the train, walking to your office, all these things, even eating food. We're burning calories as we eat food. You're burning the vast majority of your calories doing everyday little activities, and if you're not sitting and sedentary for the entire day, you're going to be burning a substantially more amount of calories on a given day. So this is exactly why it's so important for losing body fat that you're not sitting for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in a day. So here's a few examples of how you can prevent sitting all day. The first way is just to simply alternate sitting and standing throughout the day rather than only sitting. So what that means is either you get a standing desk, or you get one that's adjustable, or you kind of pile up a bunch of books and you put your laptop or something on top of that. But if you go into an office, you can ask your company to get you a standing desk, and these days in 2022, they're almost certainly going to say yes. If you work from home, I've got my own desk here that's adjustable. I invested, it was only about $500. There were definitely more expensive ones, but this one had great reviews. And I can alternate. I can sit, I can stand at whatever height I want it to be at, and I found that alternating sitting and standing every 30 minutes or so has really helped me to stay focused, stay alert, and just not be sitting all the time. Something else I did when I was working in an office in the corporate world many years ago is to get up and go walk somewhere every hour or every 2 hours. Of course, you're busy throughout the day, probably, but to get up every 2 hours or something and just walk to the kitchen, walk to the bathroom, walk to get some fresh air, this breaks the day up and it really makes a big difference. It could be the difference between getting in an extra 1,000 steps or 2,000 steps in the day, even though you're only taking a quick 30-second walk there and back. Another good alternative to sitting is probably, if you work from home, getting an under-the-desk treadmill. Now, this sounds a little funny. You're not going to be sprinting while you're doing your work, but this is something that I've been kind of on the verge of investing in myself. Again, another few $100 purchase that's going to lead to getting in way more steps in the day, especially in those cold winter months here in New York. My coach has one of these, and he's recommended it to me, where basically you can do your work on your computer, on your laptop, at your desk, and it's a nice, sleek, under-the-desk treadmill that allows you to walk at a very slow pace, whatever pace you want to walk at, while doing your work. And he says that he gets in easily 20,000 steps in the day by doing this, which is, a big difference from where I'm at right now. I'm lucky if I get 10,000 steps most days when it's cold out here in New York. Avoiding sitting for many hours in the day is not only going to be beneficial for goals of fat loss and getting leaner, but also it's something you're going to want to avoid if you are trying to get healthier and trying to live as long as possible. I was just reading an article, and if you want to see this, maybe I'll put it in the description or I can send it to you. an article about all these different studies, like up to 28 different studies done on sitting and the relationship it has and the effects it has on your health. And one of them said that for people who consider themselves sitting most of the day, which is the majority of Americans, that it takes years off their life. Sitting most of the day takes years off the end of their life. So if you don't avoid sitting and go for more walks and stand up throughout the day for just simply the goals of looking your best and losing body fat, do it because it means you're going to be able to spend more years with your loved ones and your family. Tip number 2 to lose more body fat with a desk job is to automate your lunch meal. And what this means is to have a go-to meal that you bring with you for lunch or that you eat at home for lunch every day. It's the same meal. Now, of course, if you get sick of it after a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, switch it to a different automated meal, to one that you're not sick of, but stick with it for as long as you can. Ideally, this meal should be relatively quick to prepare, like between 10 and 15 minutes to prepare, something that tastes really good that you're going to look forward to eating, and something that's beneficial to your goals, which in this case I'm assuming is to lose body fat. So unfortunately, getting pizza wouldn't be a good automated meal. That might check 2 of the boxes. It tastes good, it's quick because you can just buy it across the street from your office, but it's probably not super beneficial to the goals of fat loss. The reason this is going to be so helpful for those of you who work a desk job for losing body fat is because it ensures that that meal that you have when you're away doing your work and you're in the middle of your workday is going to be beneficial to your goals. It eliminates decisions that need to be made in the day. You don't have to think about what you're going to have for lunch. You don't have to make an impulse decision to go across the street to get pizza or to go eat out with your coworkers. And it's going to save you time and money because you're not eating out as much, and you're going to save time having to go figure out what to eat. And if you work in an office, I don't know about you and where you work, but where I used to work, there's always opportunities to eat something there, right? There's a cabinet full of snacks. They always have pizza or bagels, or it's always someone's birthday. They have cupcakes or cake, and like there's always food around. So it's much easier to say no to those things if you've already got something that you brought with you. When I was working in the corporate world, my automated meal was 2 lean turkey burger patties, and I would bring either one bun to kind of make a double turkey burger with it and maybe some vegetables on the side, or I would bring like a cup of rice to have along with just the turkey burger patties. And what I used to have was the Butterball turkey burgers, which have amazing macros. There's like 30 grams of protein, only 11 grams of fat. So I would have like in this meal 60 grams of protein. It wasn't a super high calorie meal because it was, lower in fat, and it tasted good. There was so many different ways I could eat it and prepare it that I didn't really get sick of it. And because there was so much protein in it, it kept me full for the rest of the day until I got home for dinner time. Tip number 3 is to train in the morning before you get started with your workday. And I'm going to explain why that is, because the truth is, it goes against what I've said in the past. I've always been a trainer and a coach who's told my clients, it doesn't matter what time of day you work out, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, as long as you're doing workouts consistently, you're going to see results, and you're not going to see better or worse results depending on the time of day you work out. And that is true, and I still believe that. However, for those of you who work a desk job or work at home, I have noticed too many benefits of working out in the morning before you get started with your day that has led me to believe that this recommendation is going to make a big difference for you. And here's what I mean. I've trained at all times of the day myself. I've trained in the evening, in the mornings. I prefer the mornings. But what I found when I would work out in the evenings, or at least plan to work out in the evenings, was that way more frequently something would come up. It was like a 50% chance that something comes up, or I have more work to do than I originally thought, or something happens that kind of interferes, and I end up not working out like 50% of the time. So obviously, if you're training first thing in the morning, there's a much less likelihood that something's going to come up randomly at 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's for these reasons that I think training in the morning is really going to be beneficial. You're going to start your day more productively. You're going to wake yourself up, your mind and your body. You're going to likely have more sustained energy throughout the day, because I don't know about you, when I work out, I have my pre-workout drink, which has some caffeine and some other elements in there that help me stay focused, help me, have energy throughout my workout. But if you're taking the right one, that's going to last you way beyond the workout, right? You're not going to crash or anything right after the workout. And what I find is I have energy and alertness and productivity probably till 2 or 3 o'clock in the evening, which leads to a much more productive workday in that first half of the day for me. Another reason why training in the morning I've more recently noticed is more optimal, at least for me, is because you're more rested and recovered and ready to do a workout. And of course, when you first wake up, you're probably a little tired, you're probably a little groggy, and maybe you need 20 minutes to kind of get into it. But what I found was I just got this Garmin watch about a month ago, which tracks my steps, it tracks my heart rate, and a bunch of other metrics as well. But one of the metrics that it tracks is your body battery, they call it. Basically, how rested and recovered you are, and your capability to do a workout. And they rank it just like your phone, from 0 to 100. So if you're at a 100 body battery, you're fully rested and recovered. You've got a full tank. But if you're at 50, you're halfway there. You're halfway charged, right? And that's something that I'm trying to not put too much emphasis on, is basing whether or not I should do a workout on the body battery. But what I've noticed is that when I wake up in the morning, my body battery's obviously at the highest that it is for the day, right? Because I just woke up from sleeping. It's at 90 or 92 or 95 or 98. And I go in and I do my workout at that point. But what I've noticed was that as the day goes on, the body battery slowly comes down and down and down. And for some of my evening workouts, I've started my workout where my body battery's at like 37 or 25 or something like that, which, may or may not be true. I don't know exactly how accurate this is in regards to like how much energy or recovery you actually have, but it logically makes sense, doesn't it? You're probably got more in the tank in the morning, even if you just woke up and you're a little tired, as compared to later on in the evening when you've went through a full 10-hour day of work, you've commuted there and back, you've dealt with a whole bunch of stress, a whole bunch of different things, and then you're going to then do your workout. It just seems like at that point, you're probably really tired and ready for some rest. So ultimately, my point here is train at whatever time you can get in a good quality session consistently, and whatever fits your schedule, obviously. But there are benefits, pretty significant benefits from my own personal experience over the last 10 years to training in the morning before work, both physically, both time and schedule-wise, productivity and career-wise. There's just too many adding up, and that's why I'm recommending that if you can train before your workday gets started, I am very confident that you'll see those benefits as well. Final tip, number 4, is to track your calories pretty diligently. And I said that tip number 4 was probably the most important one, and that is in regards to losing body fat. Knowing how many calories you're eating is the most important thing for losing body fat, because in order to lose body fat, and I'm sure you probably have heard this already, you need to be in what's called a calorie deficit, basically meaning you're consuming less calories than you're burning off throughout the day. And the best way to ensure that you are in fact in a calorie deficit is not by exercising or doing cardio or trying to burn as many calories as you can, because like I said before, 80 to 90% of the calories you're burning in a day aren't even from your exercise anyway. They're from day-to-day activities. So the best way to ensure that you're in a deficit is by tracking your calories accurately and making sure you know how much you're eating. Tracking your calories or even your full macros is going to do the heavy lifting when it comes to losing body fat, not only for someone who works a desk job or works from home, but for anybody. But from my personal experience working in an office or working from home, it's much easier to track your calories more accurately and make it easier over time as compared to somebody who is not sitting down at a desk all day, someone who their job requires them to be on the go all the time, like a realtor or someone who's, going from meeting to meeting, all throughout the day or something like that, or has a different type of job where they're always on the move. And there you go, man. There are your 4 key tips to losing more body fat while working a desk job or working from home. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because I make new videos just like this every single week. And I'll see you on the next one.